Hey guys, in this series of videos, I'm going to teach you how to become a tennis coach. Even if you don't want to coach tennis as a profession, this could still be useful because you could teach your kids how to play tennis or your significant other. Next to me is Karla, who you might know from some of my videos. Karla also has a YouTube channel. You want to shout it out?
Yeah, it's at tennis.karla.
And Karla wants to become a tennis coach for real. And she already started teaching some lessons, and she has asked me to help her become a better tennis coach. So Karla, the first thing I want to see is how you feed balls. So go ahead and feed some balls to the other side. And let me just take a look, okay?
Which corner do you want it in?
Just feed it straight down the middle. All right, so the first mistake, and it's a very common one, is that your ball basket is to your right side. So you as a right-handed coach, if you have your ball basket to the right, this is in a way, if your student hits the ball, you know, to your forehand side and it's a little bit further away from you, you might hit the basket. Now, of course, you could also run into it if it's on your left, but the main reason why you want your ball basket to be on your left side as a right-handed person is that you have quicker access to the balls and you can feed them very fast if the basket is on your left. If it's on your right, it's going to take longer to go over here and then get out of the way and feed the ball. So always have the ball basket on your left side if you are right-handed. Go ahead and feed a couple more. I need to check out your feeding technique to see if there's any improvements that can be done. Okay, good enough. What's your feeding grip?
Continental.
Are you sure? Here, feed one. Freeze.
Dun, dun, da, 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 da.
Okay, you're close to continental, but not quite. You're still kind of Eastern. And even players that are of a super high level feed wrong when they teach lessons, because often they're used to feeding with the forehand grip, which happens to be at least Eastern or usually it's semi-Western, and they feed the ball with spin. And that's not good, because if you have a beginner level student, if you feed the ball with spin, it's going to be very difficult for them to return it. The best way to feed a ball is as flat as possible, and that's best done with a continental grip. So just make sure that your grip is truly continental, okay?
Okay. Yeah, it was a little bit different.
So go ahead and try it out with a continental grip. Do a couple of feeds right down the center. See, it's already shallowed out a little bit. Let me see it again. And one more time. Okay, that one was good. And stop it right there. All right, so the grip has to be right on the feed. Another thing that has to be right is the actual technique of a feed. And you're doing it too much out of the wrist, which is going to lead to inconsistencies. You have to understand that the further back you are, let's say you want to feed a ball from the baseline, the more you have to take the racket up in the back and then just drop it down and then have a across the body follow through that goes, you know, towards the front of your body like this. That's the swing. So let's say I'm feeding one from the baseline. I'm going to start high. I'm going to go across the body like this. That's going to result in the cleanest possible feed. Look again. Racket tip is up to the sky, and I go across the body like this. And you see how low and clean that ball is. Let me show you one more time. Like this. So the swing is high to low and then across like this.
Okay,
let me see
Let me try it.
Right, like this.
Okay.
Don't hold the racket too loose, okay?
Don't hold it.
Because if you're too loose, it's going to result in some movement at the moment of contact.
Oh no!
Not out of the wrist, Karla. Make sure that this part right here, look, this part is not out of the wrist. I see the wrist extending a little bit here. Keep the wrist in place as you're going across. Like, keep it extended, okay?
Okay.
Better. And again, that's way better. Way better. Look at those feeds. They're cleaner, right?
Yeah, they're so much better.
Okay, very good. So you have to have the ability to feed from the baseline and also feed from the service line. So what I said about the baseline feed doesn't apply to the service line feed. So the closer you are to the net, the more you shallow out that backswing on the feed. So when you're feeding from here, even if you're directing the ball to the baseline, you don't have to go up quite as high. You can start here and then just go across the body the same way. You're going to get your hand to go right across, and the movement is more low to high on a feed like this. Try it out from the service line and feed it straight and low to the other baseline. Okay, very good. Now, Karla, when you are teaching people, you're going to have the ability to feed them different type of balls. You're going to have to feed the ball a little bit higher for certain drills. You're going to have the ability to feed it into the corners like this and make them run. You also are going to have the ability to feed it short, whether it's high or low. So you're going to have pretty good feel and pretty good control for the ball to be able to put it into different locations on the court. So in the next exercise, I'm going to call out what I want the feed to be, and you're going to do it.
Oh,
Okay?
that's gonna be good.
All right, let's try it. I feed it deep to the forehand. Deep to the forehand.
Oh man, oh no,
Deep
oh no.
to the forehand. Come. Now deep to the backhand.
Oh no.
Better? Okay, that was better.
Oh.
All right, so look,
Oh,
you went back to some of those other mistakes. You're starting to snap at the ball. You'll see that the directional control gets worse as you're active with your wrist around the contact point. So keep the wrist extended as you're doing this. Directional control in tennis works in the following way. It's the angle of your racket face at the moment of contact. So if I have my racket like this, the ball's obviously going to go to the left. If I have my racket like this, it's going to go to the right. So you have to control the angle of the racket face to get the ball to the desired location. So let's go again.
Yep.
Hit it to the forehand, deep.
No.
Now with the wrist, come on, take the wrist out of it, and you don't need a big backswing. Again, better. And now hit it to the backhand deep. Better. Straight down the middle, high. Higher. Open the racket face, not out of the wrist. Take the wrist out of the feed. Open the racket face and just hit it soft and high. A little bit higher. Good. You just open the racket face. Open the racket face. That one was perfect. And now hit it short and high. Short and high. Not out of the wrist. Come again. Short and high. You're still kind of snapping at it. You're losing control.
Man.
Keep the wrist extended and hit it short and high. It's an open racket face, but you're going to hit the ball a lot softer, okay? That's perfect. Now, as the level of the student increases, you have to have the ability to also feed with spin to give them a different look. So here you can have your normal forehand grip, which is semi-western, and you're going to have more of a vertical swing pass. Take your normal forehand grip and you just go up on the ball like this and feed them with spin. Go ahead and try it out. Okay, one more time. It's not as easy as it looks. Let's pick these up real quick. All right, Karla, let me see the top spin again.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me show you the swing path. Go ahead and open up. You don't need to turn sideways, number one. You want the contact to take place in front of the body, just like all feeds, by the way. The further behind you are in a contact on a feed, the less control you will have. So when you toss the ball to yourself, make sure it's in front of the body. So when it comes to topspin feeds, you put it here and you just go like this.
Okay.
Just roll around with your forearm, not just the wrist, but it's just more the forearm going like that.
Okay.
Okay? If it's just the wrist, it's going to be too thin. There you go. That's way better. Better. Okay, Karla, you also have to have the ability to feed slice. Now, it's very difficult to feed proper slice with the forehand. It's possible. I can do it quite decently, but it often ends up with a little bit of side spin. So it's actually much easier and more comfortable for most coaches to feed a slice backhand. You're going to have to turn yourself around, drop the ball in front of you, and slice it over like that. This way, you're going to be able to deliver really nice slices to the other side. And it's important to practice returning slices for students. So go ahead and try it out. You're going to have to turn around, drop the ball to your side, and slice the feed.
Ooh. Wow.
It's okay. It's very nice. Very nice. When it comes to feeding, it's not all about feeding the ball with your racket. You can also feed with your hand. And there's two types of hand feeds. There is the drop feed, and there is the feed where you're actually throwing the ball like that. So I want to examine both of them, and I'm going to be your student. I'm going to play lefty to make it a little bit more realistic, and I want to see how you are actually hand feeding.
All right.
Do a drop feed first.
Feed.
So you're going to have to come right next to me like that to make sure the basket is to your left. So you have quick access to the balls.
Oh, this is great.
And let me see your hand feed. I'm going to do forehand,
All right,
okay?
ready?
Okay. Those are not bad, actually. Now this might look simple, but there is a correct way and an incorrect way. So the way you're doing it is just slightly incorrect because you are making the ball go up with your hand and then down.
Gotcha.
It's unnecessary. It's going to lead to inconsistencies. The best way to do it is to have the ball underneath your hand and just do what I call a flat release, because you don't want that ball to be traveling towards the student because it's going to jam them a little bit.
Where should I be aiming to put the ball?
You put it right in the middle, or you put it like slightly over towards the side. That's not important so much, and you can change, positioning depending on what you're trying to work on with the student. But generally, these type of drop feeds are great for building technique, where the student doesn't have to worry about their footwork and can just focus on the movement of the racket. All right, but the important part is that you don't make it uncomfortable for them, jamming them in other words, and you just do a flat release with the ball underneath your hand, okay? That was way better.
Oh no.
That's okay. This is nice, Karla.
Oh.
No, those were great. All right, that's a good drop feed right there.
Can I tell you like a problem I've had?
Go ahead.
Is I'll be like, all right, just stand at the tee.
Yeah.
And I'll start drop feeding.
Yeah.
And they start kind of moving everywhere. And it gets like they'll literally move forward or they'll move to the side, and then I have to adjust my feeding, and I usually try and bring them back. But
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing something.
Well, we're going to get to that in
okay.
another lesson. We're going to actually have a real student on the court, and we're going to go through different exercises and how to build technique for beginners, intermediates, and all that. We're going to go through all that.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And this is going to be a great series. But these are the basics, which are very important. How to feed the ball, how to position the basket, and so on. So the other way of hand feeding is to actually throw the ball to the student. So you want to usually do this from the front, okay? So you're going to position yourself in front of the student like this. You're going to have the basket on your left, and let's just do an exercise where you're feeding me a ball to my forehand slightly to the side, where you make me move a few steps towards the ball. Okay, let me come back to the middle, and again. Now I notice you're feeding with your left hand. Why is that?
Well, let me show you what happens with my right.
All right, let me see.
Ah!
Okay, so you have less feel with your right hand compared to your left.
Ah!
Yeah, I see a little bit of a flick there. All right, do it again. Okay, I see. Let me see left. Let me see left. Okay, one more time. Okay, those were not bad actually. So here are the things that you have to watch out for. So number one, you don't want to feed while holding multiple balls in your hand. You don't want to do this because it's going to make it more inaccurate. So you can have multiple balls in your non-throwing hand, and make sure you feed with this one. When you are feeding, make sure the palm of the hand is towards the sky, and you feed it with not a lot of acceleration, because if you feed it too fast, again, the control is going to suffer. You're going to feed it all over the place. So you want to feed it nice and soft to the player. We're not worrying about pace, because one of the great things about hand feeding is the fact that the ball has no pace, and the players are forced to generate their own pace. We can give them pace later with the racket feed, or if we rally with the student. We're not worried about that. So as soft as possible and as clean as possible regarding the hand feed. And I don't mind that you're feeding with your left. It's not optimal, but if that's the case where you have better feel with your left, make sure you put your basket on your right side so you have quicker access to the balls, okay?
Gotcha.
Now let's do it again. Forehand. Oh, Karla, that was a horrible forehand. Oh, okay, that was a little bit better.
We'll coach you to excellence.
Okay, we're gonna get into how to teach students in our next session, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, give me a couple more.
This is an excellent.
Okay, now make me run a little bit more on the next few. Oh yes, that's it. All right, more time. Okay, one more. Thank you, coach. That was a pretty bad forehand there. I've done a video way back in the day teaching people how to feed, and you can make a target on the tennis wall, one of those rectangles.
Yeah.
So you can practice getting your feed right into the target. Now another thing that's important for any coach is to get certified. Have you thought about getting certified?
Yeah, actually, I just have to do my last video, finish
What do you
my
mean?
certification. I did a PTR course.
Oh, you did a PTR course already?
Yeah.
Great. I don't know if you ever noticed that this profession, coaching tennis, whether it's at the club level or at the professional level, is dominated by men. But there are a lot of women that play tennis. But for some reason, there's a lot of men that coach tennis and not that many women. So I'm a huge supporter of female coaches, and I think it's great that you're doing this, and I'm going to help you as much as I can to teach you all I can about the profession of tennis coaching.
I'm so excited, Nick. Thanks so much.
This is going to be great.